Tell me, how are you today?
I'm not too bad. I'm feeling a lot better. I've just had, as we talked about last time, I've just been so sick. So I think I got
coldy? Or do you think COVIDy?
No. And I think I had a Negroni last night, and I think that might have knocked it on its head.
Ah, yes.
I mean, it is a cure-all. This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing. Where do you stand on a martini?
You know what? It's been a long time. Would you say where do I stand, in or on?
As in, I said, where do you stand on?
Okay.
Where you stand in a martini would be horrifying.
Imagine the glass.
You don't stand. I know, you need to be. Oh, you need one of those Dieter von Teese glasses that you could do burlesque in. And now I'm imagining you in a nice racy outfit.
I missed my burlesque calling, you know. I think there was a little period there in the late 90s where I reckon I could have given it a red hot go.
You know there is something called boylesque.
I do not.
Okay, so boylesque, you're not going to be shocked to find out, much like bromance or a mankini or guyliner, is burlesque done by men. And I think I would really like you to develop a boylesque routine.
Do you think that it'd be kind of a little more like a middle-aged man-lesque?
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't roll off the tongue with quite the skill.
Yeah, do you think I could, I'm just not sure that I'd be able to pass both as boy and lesque at the same time. You know, that's...
I just hoped that you were going to say, I don't think I could pull it off, because that's the central tenet of boylesque, is that you have to be able to pull it off. Swing it around over your head and flick it into the audience. I could see you with a couple of pasties.
I'm just imagining the kind of the hip movements right now to make that happen. I did a little practice. It's not great radio, but I did a little practice just for those listening.
You know, you said there was a window in the late 90s where you think you missed your calling. It's just reminded me that in the late 90s when I was teaching undergraduate dance students. Wait.
What? What were you teaching them?
I was teaching them contextual studies. I wasn't teaching them anything else. There was in two different universities that I worked in. There were dancers, theatre students, musicians, and I guess live artists would be, I think that's the name of the course. We're all together on I want to say a Tuesday afternoon, and they had one big lecture.
Nice little bit of detail.
Thanks for that. I'm going to give you even more detail. And then on a Thursday morning, they had seminars in their own classes, in their own sort of subject areas, to talk about the big ideas. Yeah. So, and the big ideas were quite big. So it was like, the idea of paradigm shifts in art history. And then it's like, okay, so then we drill it down and we take it down to a particular area. Well,
but that's got nothing to do with boylesque.
No, I'm getting there. They had to give a presentation at the end as their assessment that took one of the big ideas. So let's say, for example, feminism might have been one of the big ideas.
Right.
It was. And then they had to give a presentation about that big idea through the filter of their particular performance practice.
Through the filter, not meaning through the lens, or not through the practice itself. They weren't doing interpretive dance.
No. They were,
because that ship.
That ship has also sailed. No.
But don't tell my PhD students that, please. Please don't tell them that. If you're listening, any of you, just fast forward the next couple of minutes. Your PhD is still okay. It's okay.
No, I didn't mean that. What they gave a presentation about feminism in theatre or in dance or in music. In music, it was probably not something that often happened. They tended to give presentations more about big forms like postmodernism.
Right.
Because it fits to their stuff more clearly. Anyway, I'm sure there are musicians going, no, there's lots of feminist practices, and I'm sure that is true as well. Actually, I work with one person.
All of you listening, don't email us. We don't want to know about your feminist music practices. But your musical practices, yes.
Yes, send in your 7 and 12 inches. We would love to put them on the turntable and enjoy. So, there's nothing rude there. So, this particular presentation was about burlesque. And this young woman was describing the activities and saying that there was the bra was removed to reveal pasties stuck over her nipples.
I can see that one coming from a mile away.
I know, but I didn't see it in the late 1990s coming. I had to try really hard not to laugh, because for those of you who have never seen the word pasty, which is something which is stuck over the nipples of a burlesque dancer, written down, it is written down the way you would write down the word pasty. And understandably, in the UK, you have probably seen the word pasty more than you've seen the word pasty.
And so what, just for those listeners who are not in the UK, what is a pasty if it's not a pasty or a...
So a pasty is a piece of fabric or cloth that you would stick over your nipples.
I think everyone knows
often
that.
with a tassel on. No, I want the full picture.
Often with a tassel. Showtime.
How else would you do the amazing thing where the helicopter, the propellers? Anyway.
Yeah, in opposite directions.
I know that is a feat to behold.
Mm-hmm.
However, in contrast,
what an amazing muscular. Anyway, sorry, a pasty.
What an amazing what? Go on.
Just in terms of capacity for bodies to do what they do. Do you know that people who can wiggle their ears?
I can wiggle my ears.
Do you know that's a throwback? That's a vestige.
A vestige of what? Of being a monkey?
Basically, you know the way cats move their ears around when they to sound.
Yes.
Our ancestry goes way back, and we used to be able to do that. Zombie stormtroopers.
That is, we'll come to that. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. So you are saying
vestigial, isn't that the right word?
Vestigial, like a vestigial
like a third
tail.
nipple.
Yes.
C episode, whatever.
So that means I am less evolved than you.
Yeah, that's not
really news, though.
Because I can still wiggle my ears. I don't know if that's what it means, but let's run with that.
Okay. But I've got an extra bony spur in my foot, which definitely means I'm less evolved. That's why I've got such bendy feet. Anyway,
so
separate issue. So a pasty, which I love. No, it's a pasty, not a pasty. Stop trying to give it a long vowel sound like you're in this, the home counties. It's a pasty. Even with my northern vowels, I'm closer to the Cornish. Cornish pasty, to give it its full title, is, I guess you might have come across an empanada, those of you who are international listeners. It's an empanada, only bigger. So it is a pastry envelope. And inside the pastry, there would be meat, potatoes, carrots. Historically...
Oh, I'm glad you're going here. I'm looking forward to this little lesson. I'm sure our listeners are too. Go.
It would have savoury filling at one end and then transition into a sweet filling so that the miners could have their lunch all in one coherent and safe package, and they would just eat their way from their first to their second course. And it has a big, thick seam of pastry. Now, it's a delicious thing to eat. However, it wasn't designed to be eaten. It was designed to be held because miners who were eating the pasties had such dirty hands, they didn't have the opportunity to wash them down the mine, so they would just hold on to this big pastry lip and then discard it once they'd finished eating all the good stuff.
And they used to keep them warm in their pockets, didn't they?
I believe so. Now imagine sticking them to your bosom doing a dance. And that is what I had as a mental image when this undergraduate
90s.
was talking about, in burlesque, when the bra is removed, you will see the dancer has applied pasties to her nipples.
And do you think they were pasties that had both the first and second courses, or were they just like regular?
Ah, you see, now I would have always assumed that one was savoury and one was sweet.
Oh, I love what you've done there. You're a that's excellent. So that's pretty much that episode done, isn't it?
This is not what I thought we were going to be talking about. I thought
Oh.
we would have serious grown-up conversations.
We started on something. No, burlesque. That's right, boylesque.
Boylesque, yes. Negroni hangover, not hangover, feeling poorly, but mixing
Cured.
Negronis. Cured, that's it. I asked you and you didn't answer where you stood on, not in, which is how we got to boylesque, on a martini. And I think you were going to tell me it's many years since you had one.
It's true. It's exactly right. It's many years since I had a martini, and you know what? I have I'm going to call them memories, which is probably not quite the right word. But I have good, whatever the other word is, that's not quite a memory because you don't really have one after.
Okay.
But no, I do. I remember Lil and I went through a bit of a cocktail phase.
Oh, I remember your cocktail phase.
It was fantastic, actually.
I loved it. It predated my drinking phase, but I enjoyed watching you all.
Yes, and it happened to coincide with me having a full-time job for the first time. Well, because it's hilarious. It did feel like I was basically swimming in cash. I mean, not that I was at all, but it's just because compared with what I had spent 20 years, really, or 15, 20 years of just sort of getting by. And so I thought, what should I do with this? So I was awash with cash and didn't think, I'll save it because retirement seemed like something that happened to other people. And we had a little... I think there was a couple of nights there, midweek nights, where we had two. And I think it was, what are those ones where you smash the orange rind?
Oh, where you muddle
Thank you.
Yeah, just so you know, Craig is listening to this yelling into his headphones what the name of it is. Oh, you put sugar in, it's whiskey-based. It's an old-fashioned.
Thank you. There was it was a weeknight. Let's say Wednesday, just for the sake of following your Tuesday endeavours.
Yeah,
And,
Tuesday to Thursday.
Yeah, we had a couple of old fashions, so we must have made 4 in total. And we realised that it couldn't go on.
Yeah,
we realised basically.
that was too much.
Yeah,
Okay.
but no, and so around the same time, I do remember Lil making a, what are they called?
A martini?
Martini, and thinking, wow, this is fantastic, but I cannot do it. Maybe it was around Mad Men, when Mad Men was going on. I don't know. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, Craig, who I just referred to, introduced me to the martini. I think I might have had bad versions at some point in the past. But Craig, who is a mixologist of significant ability. I mean, I am very lucky in my life to know many, many cocktail makers who are very, very good at what they do.
Wow, what a thing to have. That would be great on your tombstone, wouldn't it? He knew many great cocktail makers.
Well, it's interesting when you know a good cocktail maker, it spoils you for other cocktails. We went over the summer to...
This is where we're going, isn't it, Lee Miller?
What's that?
This is this episode, isn't it?
It is. This is the cocktail hour. I'm so sorry. Oh, well, you know.
You were expecting some highfalutin talk about, the Middle East or... No.
It's probably good to bounce back from last week's episode just to talk about cocktails. They didn't open a cocktail bar. There's a cafe in Totnes that over the summer decided, I think a Thursday evening was going to be their cocktail night. And there was nobody there the first week, and Bob and I felt quite sorry for them. And we were walking Jeff, and we went, let's just go and have a cocktail. So we went and spent our, whatever, £12 to get a cocktail made. And Simon, it was absolutely repellent.
And so
it was
can you be... Yeah, go on.
Dreadful.
But can you be precise?
Yeah, I can be precise. It was over-iced. I think they'd used poor quality liquor. The sugar syrup that they used it felt like it was still granulated. It was just... The person wasn't really very capable. And, we drank our drinks and we went...
You didn't ask for your money back, or you didn't complain?
No, because life's too short, and really there was no malice. It was just a lack of skill. I don't think I mind people being shit at things. I mind people being shit at things and rude about it. And he was lovely. But then thereafter, every week it was absolutely heaving and like quite the high spot over the summer for Totnes. And we felt, okay, good, we don't need to support it because it's doing fine. Thank God. But it wasn't until that moment where I encountered a bad cocktail that I realised how good the cocktail makers I know are. Because I really only go to two places. One is Craig's house, or Craig's bar, or whatever. Basically, it's wherever Craig is.
Yeah.
That's one place. And
that's quite a long way to go for a cocktail, isn't it?
I'm not going just for a cocktail. I'm going because I really rather like him and his partner. I think they're fabulous people. Fabulous people. So it's never a chore. In fact, I'm overdue a cocktail, shall we say, or visit. Just a shout out to Craig and Josh. I'm coming your way. So that he introduced me to the martini, and oh my gosh, it was, and it's not just like one kind of martini. There's different kinds. Mm-hmm. Dry martini, half and half, and I tried all of them with him. And I don't remember them, but I think I like the half and half because, like you,
how was your relationship with? I'm just gonna call it vermouth.
Oh, vermouth.
Yeah.
I know that you know how to say it, but I'm just saying it properly in case there's somebody who's having a big audio ick because you said vermouth.
Vermouth.
I'm happy with it. I'm glad it exists.
But do you wave the gin past it? Yeah, I'm assuming we're talking gin martinis here, not vodka martinis.
Oh, I've had them all.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, I like a half and half.
Oh,
that's probably, I think that's my favourite. That's the one, or a 50-50. I can't remember what Craig told me they were called, but that's the one that I really like.
And would you ask for a 50-50 martini?
I asked for a 50-50 martini once in a restaurant in Lisbon, not one of my usual haunts with the good cocktail makers. And the cocktail maker looked at me and went, "What's that?" And I went, "Oh, let me tell you."
And so, but you do like vermouth in it, or just waved past it?
No, I do like it. I do like vermouth in it. Yeah. Why? What's your perspective?
Oh, I don't really have one. I haven't drunk them often enough to. But it's certainly. I seem to, my poor recollection of that time was very. It's almost like you passed the vermouth bottle over the top of. That was about as close as it got, kind of thing.
Well, that's certainly one approach to the martini, but not the only one. So, I feel in our future, in our not too distant future, we should have a cocktail day or weekend where we just go and have some cocktails somewhere. What do you think?
It's a great idea. We could have a midlifing cocktail hour, happy hour.
Yeah.
And do you think Craig would?
No, he's too professional and busy to just come and rock up and make cocktails for us. But we should definitely do that. We should go and cocktail it up.
Yeah, it would be an expensive. I think that's a great idea. We could meet. I mean, London's almost halfway these days, so
it is almost halfway. Yeah. Did you say it's going to be an expensive do?
Yeah.
So here's the thing about that. This is another great thing about knowing cocktail makers. I went to see a friend in Lisbon when I was there last week, And she said, should we go for cocktails first? I went, yeah. And she took me to this new place, and it was great. I don't know what I drank, but I drank 3 of them before. No, I can't remember. We went on to have wine afterwards. Oh, remember, liquor before wine, everything's fine. Wine before liquor, you'll never be sicker. That's the poem. And we were fine because we started with liquor.
I like just how many liquor-related sort of
these are the poems
chunks of news or knowledge you've got.
Yeah. So we went and had 2 or 3 cocktails in this fancy new bar, and she just walked up to the bar and said, "Are we okay?" And the guy behind the bar went, "Yep, we're fine." And off we walked. I was like, Is that how we pay here? She said, yeah, of course it is. And off we wandered.
Oh,
I don't pay for cocktails.
I could try that. I might try that here in Italy. I might just go, "Are we okay?"
And
then walk away.
And he's like, yeah, we're fine.
Do you think I should say that in English or?
She said it in Portuguese because she's Portuguese, and so was the cocktail maker. Although he was very polite and he spoke to me in English.
Ah, very nice. I did. I don't want to drag the tone of this conversation.
Drag it down.
No.
Oh, up.
Yeah.
Go on then.
No, no, I feel bad about that.
Do it. Go on. You've got 5 minutes. Have it.
Do you know? I just wanted to put it out there, Lee Miller, that I think learning things. I think when you've taught people for so long, I think you forget. I think it's too easy to forget just how difficult learning is, especially when you're an adult, of course.
Oh, do you? I don't know.
You don't forget.
I've spent a lot of my adult life learning things that I have not been good at. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've talked in the past about the fact that you've always had a strong relationship to your body. Your physicality is something that you've known since childhood.
Yeah.
And I was just a brain on a stick. And so I came, not a particularly capable brain,
like a kind of
that's
popsicle.
all I had.
A brain popsicle.
Like a popsicle. Only, delicious. I was very late, like really in my 30s, before I started to properly invest in learning something. And that's when I started learning yoga. Oh my God. It was one of the most difficult and challenging and confronting things. And
so what was confronting about it? I think that's where the reason I'm saying this is because, I mean, it's not that I'm not fluent in Italian by any stretch of the imagination, but wow, has my confidence been knocked to this last trip. It's really knocked all over the place. And you think, wow, like it's fascinating just to go, well, hang on, I just hold on a little bit, go a little slower, boy. That kind of... Anyway, so I'm curious to hear more, though.
Well, I think for me that being knocked was similarly being surrounded by people who didn't seem to struggle with the capacity to pick something up. They would be shown something and it would be immediately in their body, which is something that you will know. I don't even think you would think about that as
it happens quickly.
Yeah. Whereas if you show me a movement, I have to have it shown to me, explained to me in language, so this is happening, and then quite often I have to have a hand put on me and my arms or legs or torso moved in the right direction. So it's a full spectrum approach to learning how to move my body. I will never be a dancer because I can't look at choreography and pick it up. It's impossible for me.
Dancers do this. Have I ever told you this? Dancers do this amazing things where you do it in class where you'd learn a little phrase and then the teacher would say, "Oh, let's retrograde it," and you'd be there working out doing it backwards. And when you see it happening, I remember I had colleagues who were so good at it, like incredible, sort of in real time, being able to reorganize their bodies so that the movements were happening in reverse, which is, if you have to think about it, if you were to pick up your hand and wave, how you would do that waving backwards, it's really, really complex. And so I think it's those kinds of skills. I was never that, I used to really struggle with it. It was sort of like, patting your head and rubbing your tummy kind of thing, next level.
But was it being surrounded by people and being caught by their capacity that made you feel that, despite the fact that you are very, very good at speaking Italian, let's not pretend that you're not good at it?
Yeah, I think it's also, there's all sorts of things which is, as I'm getting better, I'm more aware of the mistakes I'm making. So, which of course is great. Like, it's a sign of learning. But when you're confronted by that all the time, it's like just basically being sort of slapped in the face every time. Like, and so, but previously I wouldn't even have known that I was making those mistakes. So that's one thing. Yeah. And then it's just also that what happens is you get to a particular level, and so people start speaking more quickly. They start, the conversations are more complex. All sorts of things which are indications of progress, right? Totally. And I can, in theory, I can get that, but boy, in practice, I've spoken much less in this. I've been listening a lot, but it's a little bit like I can't, like finding my tongue, finding my voice in it has been really, really challenging psychologically. And it's what made me think, wow, learning languages, yes, but I think learning in general. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he can wake up gently and then start muddling.
How do we wake him up gently? Just like spoon him, Craig. Spoon him,
muddling.
Can you muddle something?
My lemon stuff squirting.
I think if anybody crept in behind me and was whispering, muddling, lemon stuff, squirting, I would be horrified. I'd be like the biggest sex pest in the world. They'll be sticking pasties onto me before you know it and sending me down the stage.
Should we stop there?
Yeah, okay.